Probably wonder what I'm doing. I'm looking for it. You know, it. The one thing that's going to make me happy this Christmas. One thing that's going to make you happy this Christmas. One thing like my kids happy, and my wife especially. It. You know, like Windows 7, you know, here's a wireless mouse. I like this, an Posturepedic cushion firm pillow top. It, you know, like it. You understand what it is? The one thing that's going to make you feel, now I'm happy. Now I'm complete. Now inside I've had it. You know, like he went to Jared. Don't talk to me about that commercial. Drives me totally nuts. The other one with the two convertibles in the garage. Yeah, right. Who does that for Christmas? Anybody you know? Nobody I know. But they're all looking for it. That's what they're looking. Oh, look at the lovely leather jacket. Maybe that is it. Did you ever realize that truthfully, we live in the kingdom of more? And somebody told me the other day, it's second cousin now. Like, we're looking for it. And it is always part of more, because we have to have more. And not only do we have to have it and more, we need to have it right now. You know, the ancient mystic Isaiah, the prophet, he said in chapter 55 and verse 3, he says this, "Why do you spend your money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which does not satisfy you?" Does that not sound like the world we live in? I mean, why do we spend our money for stuff that doesn't satisfy us? It's not bread. I mean, more cars, more houses, new snow machine, whatever it may be. And we work all our lives at jobs that don't really give us any satisfaction. See, I think the actual question we're asking ourselves this Christmas is will I be happy? Like, will I be happy with it that I've given you? Will you be happy with me? Will we all be happy? And I think that's a real struggle. Because I actually truly believe that you and I have so entangled ourselves in the culture of today that we're not sure exactly anymore what would make us happy. I want to tell you something about today's culture. Back in the book of Matthew chapter 2, there's a story about Jesus, and the Magi are coming. And historically, it's probably a year and a half to 2 years, really, when they finally arrive, because they probably left on the night Christ was born and followed the star. And on their way, they don't know where Jesus is, so they stop off at Herod's place. And they go to Herod and they say, we've come from the east, we want to worship him. And Herod says, look, when you find him, come back and tell me so I can worship him. So off go the Magi. Now, meanwhile, when they get there, Joseph, in a dream, he's warned. And an angel warns Joseph, and he says, look, take the mother and take the baby Jesus and get them out of this country, because Herod wants to destroy him. Meanwhile, the Magi have a dream, and they're warned in a dream, go home another way, don't go by the palace, because I don't want Herod to know where Jesus is. And so in Matthew chapter 2 and verse 16, we read these words. When Herod realized that he'd been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious. Listen what he did. He gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he'd learned from the Magi. You see, the story of the dream given to Joseph to take baby Jesus and his mother out to Egypt, that story is very similar to the story that we're told today. That you and I, as parents, need to begin to protect our children from the culture of the day, because the culture of the day is going to kill us. Back in the ancient days, when the Messiah came, the reason that there was so much persecution among the Christians was not that they just believed in Christ, but they believed exclusively in Jesus Christ. In other words, in the old days, you could worship Caesar and Jesus was fine. You could worship Herod and Jesus was fine. What you couldn't do was worship Jesus to the exclusivity of excluding Caesar. And this is the culture we live in. I kind of think that sometimes we worship the God of hyper-consumerism and we're trying to worship Jesus. And we wonder why we're not satisfied. I think you need to rebel. I think you need to do what the early Christians did. I think you need to do what Joseph did to protect his family. You and I need to rebel about this shopaholicism that's out there, the shopahopocalypse, where all we do is shop. And I'm not trying to be Scrooge now. I'm not trying to say don't shop. What I am trying to say is don't spend what you don't have. And learn to give the real gift of Christmas. Well, what's the gift of Christmas? The gift of Christmas was the gift of Jesus Christ himself. That was the gift of himself. And so what I'm encouraging you and me and my family and your family to do is learn to give the gift that doesn't come from the shelf. Learn to give the gift of ourselves. And stop equating love with material stuff. That if I give you love, I've given you stuff, and therefore that tells you I love you. And instead, find a way to serve, find a way to give, find a way to spend time together, find a way to be involved in each other's lives, and really give the gift of ourselves. I think we live in a world where people are looking for it. I think we live in a world where people are looking for more. I think we live in a world where people are equating love with material stuff. And I think maybe we need to make this Christmas different. And maybe we could start this way by, first of all, giving the gift of ourselves to Jesus. Saying, Christ, what would you like me to do this Christmas? How would you like me to celebrate this Christmas? To dialogue with our family and say, how could we truly give the gift of ourselves this Christmas? Because God, as great as God was, limited himself to human form and came and gave himself to you and to me, that we might experience the forgiveness from our selfishness, from our sin, that we may experience true joy, because I believe there's this big vacuum inside of us that we keep trying to fill with it, and it's really designed to be filled with God himself and to be filled with the baby Jesus this Christmas. So I want to give you permission to rebel. Rebel against spending more money than you have. Rebel against looking for more. Rebel against hyper-consumerism. Rebel against running your charge cards to their limit. And instead start a real revolution. Give the gift of yourself. Serve. Love. Clean a driveway. Hug a neighbor. Truly learn to give the gift of yourself. Would you join me in the rebellion?